Today we're going to be talking about that damn Stephen A. Smith. We're going to be talking about Stephen A. Smith today, but before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the show. Now, what happened? This morning, was just here, hadn't even started the research for the day, hadn't even had our meeting, our normal morning meeting that we normally have, none of that. Was just here, and all of a sudden, I get a notification on my phone from Twitter, and I'm on Twitter, but I barely use it. I get a notification, and it has like a Stephen A. Smith comment on it on the screen of my phone. So I click on it. I'm like, what the hell? Why am I getting a notification about Stephen A. Smith this morning? So I click on it, and I see what he had to say. I'm like, okay, but wait a minute. What the hell is going on here? Then I jump on Google, start to Google his name, and then all of a sudden he's popping up in all of these various publications like TMZ, The Daily, all of these different ones. And I'm like, what the hell does Stephen A. Smith say now? Put him, searched him on YouTube. Then I saw a clip from him. And on this clip, he was on this show, with her name is Sherry, right? And I believe she was one of the members from The View. Now, how do I know this? Just yesterday, funny enough, on ESPN First Take, there was a segment, right? It was a short clip that they put out there where you had Mad Dog Russo, who comes in, I believe, every Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. And he was basically scolding Stephen A. Smith, but in a funny way, like, always late, all of this, well, everybody knows about your book, blah, all of these different things, right? And as y'all know, Stephen A. Smith is promoting his new book, his memoir, right? So he's been going everywhere, $1 million worth of game. Just yesterday, he was on The Odd Couple with Chris Broussard and Rob Parker. He's going everywhere, right? And apparently, he was also slated to make a guest appearance on the show, Sherry. So I clicked on the clip there, and then I watched it in its entirety. And then I began to understand why all of a sudden he was getting all this flack. So what we want to do is we want to play what he had to say in this audio in its entirety about Rihanna, and then we're going to come back and react to it. Take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say there.
Are you excited for this halftime show?
I don't want to say I'm not excited. She's fantastic. That's not where I'm going with this.
Okay, where you going?
Ladies and gentlemen, she's a lot of things. She's spectacular, actually.
Yes.
And congratulations on new mamahood.
Yes.
There's one thing she's not.
Uh-huh.
She ain't Beyonce.
I know she's not Beyonce, but wait a minute. Hold up.
Hold on.
Steven.
The only reason I brought up Beyonce is because Beyonce recently performed at the Super Bowl.
Yes, she did.
And without Bruno Mars and Coldplay.
Okay, so Beyonce performed, but she's had her time. Now there's Rihanna. Rihanna's coming back. She got that extra of motherhood. I like Rihanna.
You know what? I like television.
Uh-huh.
I like a lot of talent out there. There's some spectacular females in television. I just want to say that. Everybody ain't Sherry.
Okay, everybody's not sharing.
That's not throwing shade on them. That's appreciating their greatness, but understanding there's levels, Okay. And Rihanna's music is fantastic. She's great. She's a sister. I love her dearly. I listen to her music. I'm going to support her till the cows come home. I'm just telling you, for me, there's Beyonce and there's everybody else. Just like it was Michael Jackson and it was everybody else.
You got to give Rihanna a chance because I really think Rihanna's going to surprise you. I think Rihanna's going to surprise you, Steven, and we'll leave it at that.
So you heard what he had to say there in that clip. I'm not even going to address what he said just yet. I still want to give you guys some of the facts. Then, apparently, and I'm assuming I'm the way I'm going to present it to you, I'm assuming it's in the order in which it came. Then he went on his Twitter page and an apology was posted. And it basically has the headline, "Apologies to Rihanna for my words, gotta be more careful." And it's about a 3-minute clip of him apologizing and really clarifying his position. So what we want to do is we want to play exactly what he had to say here as he reacts to the backlash of what he said on that show. Take a listen to that there.
I just got out of a First Take and I saw some headline that's circulating all over the place about my quote that Rihanna ain't Beyonce. See, I'm going to own it. I know what y'all trying to do, but I'm going to own it because I get paid to speak for a living, so I need to be more careful. I want Rihanna to know you're a superstar. You're sensational. You're spectacular. You're no joke. And you are a worthy person to be doing the Super Bowl halftime show. Having said all of that, I was answering a question from Sherry Shepherd, who took over the Wendy Williams show and now got her own thing going, and I'm very proud of her. And she asked me with a bunch of sisters in the audience what she asked me. Now, I'm a Beyonce fan. I think that Beyonce is not only a phenomenal performer, the phenomenal performer. And the only reason any kind of comparison came into play is because Beyonce performed at halftime of the Super Bowl, not just by herself, but one separate Super Bowl performance with Bruno Mars and Coldplay. And I thought those were two of the greatest shows that I've ever seen. So what I'm saying is anybody has to measure up to that. Last year, with Snoop and Dre and Mary J and Eminem, I was like, Bruno Mars, Beyonce, Coldplay, big time. They got to measure up to that. Anybody who does Super Bowl or Super Bowl halftime show, forever I'm going to say Beyonce, Bruno Mars, Coldplay, and then Beyonce by themselves. Michael Jackson could still be alive, and I would say it's got to measure up to that. Eminem, who's one of my favorites, I would say that about him. Coldplay, when they talked about Coldplay initially for the Super Bowl, I was like, not enough. That can't measure up to Beyonce and Bruno Mars, or Bruno Mars by himself, or Beyonce by herself. I've always said that. I meant it as no disrespect to Rihanna. I know she's phenomenal, and she's my sister. Nothing but love for her. But Beyonce is my sister too. I got love for both of them. I just think that Beyonce is the greatest performer out there today. That's me. That doesn't mean I'm hating on anybody else. Doesn't mean I'm damn sure wishing for Rihanna to fail. I don't believe she's gonna fail. She's gonna be great. I'm just saying that I'm a Beyonce fan, that's all. That's it. Rihanna, go do your thing. I apologize for creating whatever brouhaha comes of this. I gotta be more careful where people twist it and turn it into something it ain't. My bad on that.
So you heard what he had to say there. Good. Then, subsequently, he went on Twitter to post this. Horrific mistake. Something that was supposed to be a fun moment on the Sherri Shepherd show has gotten out of hand. An overzealous member of my management team, which has access to my account, posted something I would never say about Rihanna, her fans, or any other artists. Then, in another tweet, he writes, has been removed. My social management team will never make a mistake like this again. My apologies again to Rihanna. And just to be clear, I'm a huge fan. Sherri and I were just having fun. That is all. I then started to go through some of the comments. And people were roasting and toasting. First of all, let me give you guys my take on this. I want to be very clear in something that I'm going to say. No one is saying you are not allowed to have an opinion. Let me say that once more. No one is saying you are not allowed to have an opinion. It is within your right to say what you believe. Fantastic. Now, let's apply some wisdom to that principle. Okay? Because you have to apply wisdom. We're not a bunch of robots and animals here. We can discern things, hopefully. You understand you have that right to say what you want to say. Now you have to use the proper application of wisdom in order to ensure you don't find yourself in a sticky situation. I give you guys a perfect example of this. For example, I grew up in New York. Maybe a lot of people watching this show from New York, been to New York, whatever. You've been on the subway. Fantastic. You're sitting on the subway. You see a guy, he's 6'5", and you don't think he's that attractive. You don't even think he's good looking. You walk up to him. It's your right to say, hey man, I think you ugly as hell. It's within your right to say that. 100%. No one is saying you can't say your opinion. However, don't be surprised at the reaction that you get. Now, your wisdom would have probably informed your decision by saying, okay, I think that guy's ugly, but maybe I need to just keep it to myself. Why? Because my words may cause a reaction that's unnecessary had I just kept my opinion to myself. I hope this example makes sense. Stephen A. Smith is within his right to say what he wants to say. No one is disputing that. But what comes after that is fair game. Fair game, because now you're talking about somebody else. In that particular clip on the show, they asked you, are you looking forward to Rihanna? You could have said yes or no. Then you went into this thing of, she's no Beyonce. Who asked you all of that? Who asked you? Nobody asked you all. We obviously know she's not Beyonce. Why would you say that, number one? And number two, what exactly did you think the response was going to be? You thought people were just going to say, ha, 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 ha. Oh, man, that's so funny. She's no Beyonce. No, number one. Bro, number two. If I'm not mistaken, Rihanna just recently gave birth to a child. A situation like that, women are going to be very, very sensitive to something like that. You gotta have more wisdom. You gotta just know, okay, let me avoid this mess right here. I'm just going to skip over this pothole and just dodge it to the left. You gotta know what's coming after that. Now, is it fair? It's unfair? It's irrelevant. You know why it's irrelevant? Because you've already put yourself in a situation where now people can come at you. Those comments were absolutely pointless. It was pointless. It's like somebody going on a show and they ask you, hey, man, we got Stephen A. Smith on today. You're like, yeah, that's great, but he ain't no Shannon Sharp. It's like, what? Now, I think Stephen A. Smith is good. I think he's good. I think he's really talented, but he's no Shannon Sharp. Can you see how that will come off? In my opinion, this perfectly summarizes what my grandmother would call an expensive joke. An expensive joke is when you tell a joke at the expense of someone else. In that occasion, you're lifting up Beyonce to tell us how great she is, and she is great, but at the same time, you're bringing down Rihanna. You're bringing her down. That's how people are going to feel, and she has a lot of fans. To me, this entire thing was absolutely avoidable. You didn't need to say all of that. That was absolutely unnecessary. Sometimes wisdom is key. Wisdom is key. You don't need to go to Harvard to get wisdom. Wisdom is key. The wise thing to do would have been not to say that. It was unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary. 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 In my personal opinion. And for those of you that may be into politics, I can give you guys an example quickly before we close. It's like you're on a show and they're like, hey, man, we're going to have former President Bush on the show. Like, yeah, that's great, but he's no Obama. What do you think people are going to say? You're going to say, well, this is his opinion. Yeah, but obviously people that supported him are going to feel a type of way. Let's not be dumb here. Let's not be dumb. We're all adults. We all know what we're doing. To me, Stephen A. Smith. But Stephen A., you be talking a lot, man. You be talking a lot. I understand you're the biggest guy in the whatever in sports media, but man, come on, man. Like, let's just be a little bit more careful what we say. Not to say that people can't make mistakes. Everyone is prone to make a mistake or have a gaffe here and there. That's a gaffe right there. But sometimes, man, this was just like, come on. You brought that on yourself. Like, you didn't have to say all of that. Like, and especially she's gay. What do you think women are going to do? Like, what do you think was going to happen? Come on. Like, come on. Anyway, what I want to know from you guys, what do you think about this? Y'all know my opinion. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comment section. We catch you all on the next show. Peace.